guess who we have today? Someone who has 1 million followers, and he's so proud of it. Yeah, he's smiling. Guys, bring in our next guest. He is none other than Isaiah Martin, the great Isaiah. Hey, how you be? How
What's
you be?
up?
What's
Oh
up?
man, thank you so much, Miss Ryan. This means a lot,
Call
seriously.
me April.
Oh my gosh, my parents taught me well. I have to leave
Oh
with
my
that.
God, I'm not that old.
No, my
But
gosh,
thanks for
no,
respecting your elders. Mm.
absolutely. Look, I told you when I saw you in Alabama, it's really an honor because, I used to watch you all the time and I still watch a lot of your content. So it's really, and I know my parents are watching, so I'm super excited.
Hey, parents of Isaiah, you raised a good one. So listen, you are Texas strong, you are Texas big. Everything is big in Texas. What's going on right there in Texas, in the Lone Star State, when it comes to these races, and what are Dems doing? What does the fight look
Yeah.
like in Texas?
Well, I do live in the DMV now, but I will say, looking back at where I grew up, it is interesting to say the least. You got James Talarico at the top of the ticket, but also you got the most corrupt candidate I've ever seen in my life, and Ken Paxton. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. I mean, April, you know how absurd you got to be for Republicans to impeach you? Like, like Kid Paxton was impeached by his own party, right? So it's like, I mean, the corruption that's going on in that state is absolutely crazy. And look, I think it's really the right time. I know that, I feel like a lot of us across the country have been like saying for so long, is this the year that Texas is going to do it? Is this going to be the opportunity? But, I think that the stars are aligning, and I think that Talarico's making a really big case, and I think it'll be successful.
But let's go back to the corruption. You remember Texas, Governor Abbott played along with Donald Trump in redistricting and also with this stuff with migrants being part of that thing, sending people to Martha's Vineyard and everything. So that's if like you said, I'm just giving more receipts to show you've got to be really down at the bottom of the barrel to be a Republican
Yes.
and get impeached. That's crazy. So, Isaiah, you worked for the late great Sheila Jackson Lee. I still, oh my God, I
Yes.
miss her
Yes.
tremendously. And one of the things she did, she picked up something from uh Congressman Conyers, who passed away as well, HR 40.
Yes.
Donald Trump is so enamored and so obsessed with 1776 and this $1.776 billion slush fund for the insurrection. Yeah, I know, right? For the insurrectionists, um,
Right.
for the January 6th insurrectionists who were pardoned and a lot of them gone back to jail for other things, for the Oath Keepers who want to oppress you and I, the Oath Keepers and Proud Boys and all of those groups. But yet, he don't want to talk about slavery or right or HR 40 and reparations. Said,
Doesn't
oh,
make sense.
t-
Doesn't make
tell
sense.
me why it doesn't make sense. Because I know, but you explain to them. You the one with 1 million followers. You explain to them.
Look, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's reparations for Trump supporters. Who would have ever thought, right? Like, I just want you to think, right?
They hurt
Imagine
my
a
feelings.
decade
They
ago.
want $100,000.
Think about it. Imagine a decade ago if somebody told you that President Donald Trump would be giving reparations to people who ransacked the Capitol. I mean, I don't even think we would. I don't think SNL could have come up with better than that.
Not
You
just
know?
ransacked, they pooped and spread
Yes,
feces all on it. They
everywhere.
desecrated John Lewis's memorial. But let me tell you what they didn't touch. You
Mm,
know what they didn't touch?
what they didn't
That
say.
certain woman that was standing like this in her yellow attire.
Mm-hmm.
Shirley Chisholm. You know that portrait of Shirley Chisholm?
Uh-huh.
But she was looking
Yep.
at, they ain't mess with that. Oh,
No,
they
they didn't
they
touch
they
that
did not touch that black woman. Mm.
one. Nope. They knew better.
And for those of you who don't know, Shirley Chisholm was the first black woman to run for president in 1972.
And she
Oh,
actually was also a mentor to Congresswoman Jackson Lee. Really big mentor for her.
yeah. So, but what do you think that ultimately, because a lot of people are just people, period, are like,
Yeah.
why do they need the money? Do you think ultimately that this may not happen? I got a feeling I don't know. It's like constituents versus Trump bullying Republicans. I think that's the scale. That's what's weighted.
Yeah. Right, right,
Constituents
right, right, right.
versus Trump bullying Republicans. What
Yeah.
outweighs the other? What do you think?
I will never put any money on Republicans doing the right thing. I mean, we're 10 years into this, right? But look, I saw the reports that said that this is dropped. I saw Lisa McClain, the GOP chairwoman, saying that this is over. I don't know how true that is, but I agree with you. I think that ultimately it's election season, and some of these guys that got to run in these real tough seats are realizing that it's not sweet over here. You try to do a lot of this stuff, you can be blasted in front of ads across this country because, again, Republicans just love wasting money. They're wasting money on Trump or reparations while nobody can afford childcare, gas, or anything. Like, to me, it's just pure stupidity, and they need to be called out for it.
Mm. Well, going to the chat, Daryl says, I love this guy, exclamation point. And he's in all caps. Isaiah is a great guy. This guy is the most polished Beyonce of our times. Okay. Well, she's from Texas too. All right.
She's from Houston. You know what's
see
actually
what
kind of
is-
funny about that? You
Yeah,
know what's
what?
funny about that? She actually went to the same church growing up that I did growing up.
Did
St.
she
Mary's
think-
Catholic Church in Third Ward, Houston, Texas, where I grew
Oh,
up.
Beyonce's Catholic. Okay.
Yeah.
Hail
Yes, she
Mary,
did.
full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed are thou. I went to Catholic school. So I know.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
that's cool. So, okay, so there's a Beyonce tie. To see him on Instagram is so refreshing to see. Kendra says he wants to pretend that slavery was good for slaves because they learned skills and were given a place to live. Oh my God.
Byron Donald said that.
Yeah, right. Child. Okay. Amy says J6ers should be billed for the damage that they cause, not get a handout. Amy, you're the first
That's
person I
right.
heard say that. Cherry says the whole Trump era, 2015 to now, is the stuff of very bad fiction. No publisher would have published a book with these characters and events. Iris says they are wasting my money on this stupid war. So I get it. I
True.
get it. But at the end of the day, what are Democrats doing that you see to fight back? What's the main issue for? Is it the message? Is it
Mhm.
policy? Or is it the fight? Because people feel like a lot of people I'm hearing from, Democrats don't
Mhm.
have the backbone to fight. It's not a street fight yet. They're not
Yeah.
like, they're just, thus thou art, wherefore thereas, this is not fair. The founding fathers didn't put it up like that. This is not what's happening
Right,
anymore.
right,
This
right,
is
right.
like,
Yeah.
look, let me take my earrings off. Let me pull my wig off. Let me put some
Yeah.
Vaseline on it.
Facts.
Let's get, this is like Baltimore. My husband's like, hit with the elbow.
With that left hook.
Yeah, he's like the elbow. My husband always said, hit with the elbow. My father says, if you ever in a serious, somebody's coming into the house, he said, don't just do this with the knife, stick it and turn.
Jab it.
So what do you see Democrats need to do? They might need to do a little bit of all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. It's really interesting because I talk to so many people. I do TikTok live Monday through Friday, and so
Yes,
I've
you
talked
do.
to thousands of these people. And from what I hear is that there's a general frustration of, sometimes there are some Democrats that try to play by the old rules, right? But I think the country is saying that after 10 years of this foolishness, the old rules is just simply not going to work. So, I say that I'm a big proponent. Some people don't like this. Some people give me flack for it, but I think it's really important. We have to have blue states fight fire with fire. We got to look at what's going on in Alabama. What's
Wait a
going
minute,
on?
blue states. What about blue and red states?
Well, 100%. But what I'm saying is, it's like we just saw them wipe out Shomari figures. And
Yes.
they made his seat incredibly
Yes.
difficult. We saw what they're doing in Louisiana, the Cleo fields. We see what's going on all across this country. We got to get our blue states to come together and say we got to redistrict them too. We can't just sit by with our hands between our thighs and just sitting around, just let this happen. We got to say, hey, look, Colorado, you got to lay the groundwork to do this now. I'm really excited that Kathy Hochul has said that she's going to be stepping up in New York to convene the legislature. It's a very long process, but we got to start somewhere. We got to get that done. Illinois has to step up. We have to see Oregon. We got to make sure that if we understand that Republicans are doing everything they can to wipe out representation, we have to go make sure we're treating them by the exact same rules. And I've been a really big proponent of that. I think that fighting fire with fire is what the people of this country are demanding. It's really important.
But with this great frustration, and
Yeah,
it's not just Democrats, it's not just independents, and it's
that's right.
definitely not just Republicans. Republicans are frustrated too. They're
That's
seeing,
right.
a lot of people are seeing their party change to something that they
Hmm.
never imagined. It's dictatorship. You can say authoritarianism, all of those pretty words, but it's
Hmm.
dictatorship. End of
Yeah,
story.
right.
How do people mobilize through the language and ideas in the midst of this frustration?
Well, I really do think that part of what the future must be is a clear articulation of yes, what we're going to do to fight back, right? But people are not okay with us fighting back, winning power, and doing nothing with it. They are done with that. And I
And
think that we have to really lead with a clear set of policies. That's why I always talk about Republicans say, well, what is it that you would want to see? Well, I say we need universal health care. I think we need universal child care. I think we need to wipe out medical debt. I think, frankly, we need somebody that can step up and get big money out of politics. I think that if we lead with those things, those are real tangible things that can be delivered for the people of this country. I think that's how we can create the groundwork to, yes, win an election, but also deliver for people and then not have to worry about, 4 years after that, whether or not they're going to remove us from office because we will be delivering and people will be able to see that and support it.
who's on the horizon on the Democratic side that you really have
Yeah.
hope in that could really change this around? Because a lot of people are saying, I don't see anyone.
There's a lot of people. To be honest with you, I'm a really big fan of Senator Ossoff. I think that he has done a really good job in Georgia. And I like the anti-corruption message that he's been pushing,
Mhm.
because I think the one thing that we all can unite behind is that it's insane when government wastes our tax dollars to enrich their cronies. It's absurd. And so I like the fact that he's leading with that message. He's been talking a lot about what we can do to expand healthcare in those regards. So I think that Senator Ossoff has been a really good fighter. And like I said, but there's just so many people, around the country that I, love and support.
So I want to go back to Texas because everything is big in Texas. It's big,
Hmm.
big
Yeah.
hair, big Aquanet, big boots, big hats, big
Hmm.
attitude. Uh,
Yeah. And
what?
Richards,
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
probably one of the
Um,
best DNC speeches ever.
yeah, I remember that. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Um, that was amazing. I was much younger then, but it's like certain things leave an impression on you.
What was that like to be in the room for that?
First woman, first Southern woman. It was like, wow, groundbreaking. How different, to watch someone like that. It's also like, okay, it's several moments. Now I hear you interviewing me. Several moments that
I'm
I
sorry.
remember from conventions. I'll never forget that when Bernie, so these are moments that I remember. Okay, Ann Richards is one. Um, Pivotal moments in history at conventions. The other one was when Bernie Sanders delegates were not happy that they had to
Mhm.
to go under Hillary Clinton. I'll never forget when Michelle Obama came on the stage. They were like, "Boo!" And I was like, "Oh no, that you never heard that." And then to see Kamala come out there, um, Al Gore. I mean, it's just you remember certain things, John Kerry, but there's certain moments, that Ann Richards moment, that Hillary Clinton moment, Michelle Obama twice had to work to save the DNC. So, but getting back to questions for you.
Mhm.
Talk to me about Texas. Is do we have the Ann Richards bigness to fight back against the racism, the corruption, the Donald Trumpism?
Mm. um, look,
Oh boy.
I think that we certainly would be served well if there was another Ann Richards in Texas right now.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's the case, but what I
Barbara
do
Jordan,
know,
even, or
that's
Sheila
right.
Jackson Lee.
That's right. They were unapologetic, and I think we needed that. But look, here's the deal. I think that, coming up, um, Talarico is going to be a good candidate, and I think that he has mobilized people in a way that, has been historic in many ways. So, look, I support his campaign, and he has a different way of doing things. And look, I think that, he's doing something that's going to work moving forward.
Yeah, everybody got on the religious piece.
Yeah.
I don't, right. I think you feel it. I don't
Mhm.
espouse to one person or one group supposedly have the whole religious
Yeah.
experience to themselves. I just don't with that because we all have our own spirituality or religious experience in some way. And I just that's the thing. And it's I guess that's where people are now. It's about religion. Donald Trump, I mean, you see a flag and you see a Bible, you think of Republicans, and it shouldn't be that.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you say a couple of
Yeah.
scriptures, you think of Talarico. I'm like,
Yeah, it's not necessarily my style. I'm a proud Catholic, but it's not really something I talk about politically. But it's look, at the end of the day, he must be doing something right. He's mobilized a lot of people,
he
So
is, he is.
if it ain't broke, look, we have lost in Texas. We've for 30 straight years. All right, we have not had a Democrat elected to anything since Lloyd Bentsen statewide.
Mm.
So that is a very long time. He was old when he was Treasury Secretary all those years ago, and it's like we haven't had a victory. So at the end of the day, maybe it's something that will can motivate people.
And one of my last questions to you, this age thing. You talking about Lloyd Benson was old. This age thing, I there's something to be said for continuity in history, and there's also something to be said to bring in new energy. Do they meet in the middle? Do they marry?
I actually think they do. And I always talk about I'm actually really glad you asked this question because sometimes people think that, because I'm a young person that I only support young candidates and stuff like that. I saw Congresswoman Jackson Lee work up close
Mhm.
and personal for many years. I saw the amount of dedication that she had. I saw the preparation that she put towards things. At 74 years old, she was the best person to represent that district by far. And there was nobody, even if they were younger, whatever the case, that would have been a better representative than she was. So, I think that it just has to do with making sure that we can get rid of incumbency advantage. I think that's really the root of the problem. And I think that the Congresswoman, if she were alive, she would agree that if we can get, big money out of politics, put spending limits, mandate debates, stuff like that, Congresswoman Jackson Lee would have loved that type of environment because she would have relished being on the debate stage and fighting without money and all that stuff. So uh, I think that that's really what's necessary. Um,
But that's
and
term limits. So you're calling for term limits,
no, no,
basically.
no, 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 not term limits, but it's saying spending limits on campaigns, right? Because ultimately, because what I mean by that is a lot of times incumbents will get these massive war chests, and they'll have millions and millions of dollars in it. They've got relationships or whatever. And, even if a candidate is not, up to where they need to be, they can still win because of the brute size of their operation. I think if you put spending limits in place, you can get a lot of that out and you really can have people more just kind of compete on their ideas and their entities and stuff like that.
I'm glad you went a little deeper in that because going into that, it felt like you were trying to say term limits. So you're not
No.
term limits, but spending limits. Okay. All right. So going back to the chat, Cher says, in a sane world, Trump never would have gotten anywhere as a political candidate. That's true. Also, in a sane world, everyone on the January 6th every one of the January 6th participants would be spending the rest of their lives in prison. That's true too. And says
Mhm.
Democrats aren't doing enough. Virginia should be investing in the Supreme Court justices that didn't report their gifts on their income taxes. Lisa says, I live in Colorado, and sadly, this won't happen. Our leg is off till our ledge, oh God, our legislature is off till next year, and our government won't do it. Kendra says, my little state of Connecticut is totally blue. all U.S. reps, both senators, plus our governor and all statewide offices. What more should I do beyond letters and calls and participating in protests like No Kings? That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Arlene says Democrats are always worried about how things look. Fascists take what they want and don't care how it looks. That's the truth.
Hmm.
Andrew says, I met Ann Richards several times at a private gathering in Austin while she was governor. What an amazing woman. So funny, so merciless in skewering the pompous. Her mouth, she didn't play. She
Oh,
did
yeah.
not play. Oh God, I love that. I love a strong woman who can wear a velvet glove, be genteel, but when it comes time to take care of business, let me tell you. So anyway, and Kendra says, Isaiah, what do you hope will be in Jasmine Crockett's future? I do like James Talarico.
Hmm. Look, I think whatever the congresswoman wants to
Wants to
do,
do.
you know, that's
Uh,
kind of for her. Look, maybe she'll go into media, maybe she'll do social media, maybe she'll write a book. Who knows? But she's been a big fighter for Texas, and I wish her the best.
yeah. And then here's the last question. And this is
Hmm.
simple. Juneteenth is right around the corner. What you gonna
Yeah.
do?
I will actually be overseas for a little bit. I'm actually going on a little vacation. So,
Oh,
I will say what I typically do is, well, now I'm in DC, right? So it's a little bit difficult to figure out, but I would go down to Galveston for that amazing celebration that they do
yes.
to recreate what happened with General Granger. I used to go with the Congresswoman all the time, as well as Commissioner Ellis and so many other people. So um, if I did still live in Houston, that is what I would be doing. I got to figure out what the move is now that I'm here in the DMV. Maybe there's something going on. I got to
Oh, there
get
are
an
a
eye on
lot of
that.
things going on. There are a
Yeah.
lot of things going on. And if not, host your own Isaiah Martin Juneteenth party. A million
Yeah.
people will come. I guarantee.
You
Well,
never know, right?
Isaiah, is there anything else you would like to add? Because we are moving fastly approaching the 6 p.m. hour, and we're so happy to have had you.
Absolutely. Everybody can follow me everywhere. Isaiah R. Martin, ISAIAHRMARTIN, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, everything involved. That's where I am. And look, I look forward to seeing everybody. It's really fun.
Yes, and we want you to come back always. It was such a great
Anytime.
moment meeting you. My team member Morgan was like, "There's Isaiah Martin." I said, "Where?" And she said, "I said, okay." But she's a big fan, so I know I'm putting her on blast right now. But she really is a fan of yours, and we appreciate you. And we're gonna have you back. I'm gonna have Morgan reach out to you specifically. She is a huge fan.
Absolutely. For
Thank you,
sure.
Isaiah.
Anytime. I'm always
Thank
down.
you. Thank you
For
so
sure.
much.
Thank you so much
Enjoy.
for the work you do too. I really
Oh, thank
appreciate
you.
you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Tell all
All
your
right.
friends to tune in.
I
Substack.
will.
We're going, we're going next week, 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday at
Oh.
5:30. They're gonna be sipping tea and steeping tea twice a week. We're gonna be knocking the pot over even more. So,
I love it.
all right, Isaiah, be
All
well.
right. Take
Thank
care. All right.
you.
All right. Take care. Bye bye.